Alright, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host Chuck Stevenson. So the other night we went over the top 5 craziest submissions in women's mixed martial arts history. So the obvious follow-up has got to be top 5 knockouts of women's mixed martial arts history. Okay, listen, everybody loves a knockout. I know I said I love submissions, but hey, I love knockouts too. I know everybody does. Who doesn't love a good knockout, right? There's nothing quite like seeing an opponent, a fighter hit their opponent and send them to the mat unconscious, or slamming them and they're unconscious. There's nothing quite like a good knockout. Everybody gets on their feet for a good knockout that's watching. Hell, even people at home get on their feet for a good knockout. I can't tell you how many times I've been watching at home, watching a fight with excitement. Someone gets hit, they go down, and I'm up on my feet like, whoa! You know, everybody loves a good knockout. Who doesn't? I don't know. If you don't like a good knockout, please tell me in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your reasoning for not watching it, for not enjoying them. Everybody likes them. Yeah, you feel bad for the fighter afterwards sometimes, but you still like the action itself, right? Anyway, since we talked about the top 5 craziest submissions, we gotta talk about the top 5 knockouts. Now we'll go in order from 5 to number 1. We'll do a countdown. And this is actually a pretty diverse list. There's 2 of them are 3 in the UFC, 2 outside the UFC. 2 of them are by the same person. I think you're going to be surprised. And I also think you're going to be surprised by the order I put these in as well. So let's start off with number 5. We're going to Japan for Smack Girl Advent of Goddess. Hisai Watanabe versus Berry 15 Takahashi. 15 February 2006. So Hisai Watanabe is probably the all-time pound-for-pound knockout queen of women's mixed martial arts. I've talked about her in one of my Blast from the Past segments, which if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out afterwards. Whereas Berry 15 is mostly a pro wrestler who dabbled in mixed martial arts, had a bad record. She was mostly brought in as a promotional aspect, really more brought into job and like for can crushing purposes. When Hisai Watanabe fought her, she was pretty much at the top of her game. Berry 15 was not. But let me tell you something. This fight, they started off. Berry 15 wanted nothing to do with Watanabe's stand up in the first round. So she immediately went for the clinch, got taken down by Watanabe, had to fight off Watanabe's offense, and then from there went for a lot of like heel hooks and ankle lock attempts on Watanabe. Berry 15 was doing everything she could to avoid those heavy hands of Watanabe in the first round. Second round, Berry 15 just didn't stick to the plan. She started following Watanabe around in a stand-up, circling around. Watanabe at one point, she's backing around in a circle. She stops and throws a right hand. Boom, lands flush on Berry 15. Berry 15 falls to the ground, hits sideways and rolls onto her back. She is completely unconscious. The referee waves it off, and like 3 more people, including I think at least 2 doctors, are in the ring immediately. Everyone's just surrounding her, checking her. They didn't even wait to bring the stretcher, and you could see the stretcher being driven in. I'll link the fight in the description. Man, this knockout was disgusting. 31 seconds of the second round. This is a good example of why you don't wear a mask in the ring. I don't think the mask really had anything to do with the knockout, but it definitely did not help her vision either. Some of the worst knockouts I've ever seen in JMMA had to do with fighters wearing a mask. Don't wear a mask in MMA. Just ask Berry 15 Takahashi. So moving along to number 4. Amanda Nunez versus Chris Cyborg, UFC 232, 29 December 2018. Battle for the UFC featherweight title. Nunez moving up. She's already the bantamweight champion. Chris Cyborg, the long reigning featherweight queen of really all of WMMA. Been around forever. Was Strikeforce champ, Invicta champ, UFC champ. Finally coaxed Amanda Nunez up to fight her. She was calling bantamweights coward for not moving up in weight to fight her. So finally Nunez was like, all right, let's go. They come out. They start exchanging. Nunez lands a hard low kick to Cyborg. Cyborg goes off the rails. She starts rushing forward, winging arm punches at Nunez. Nunez absorbs a couple of them, stays fine. She stays calm and collected. She starts throwing punches down the pipe. Boom, she hits Cyborg again, knocks her down. Cyborg gets back up, comes at her again. I think Nunez dropped her a second time. Cyborg gets backed up. Nunez stays calm, is deep in the pocket with Cyborg, throwing with her. Just starts throwing, throws a final combo straight down the center. In the middle of Cyborg's winning punches. Boom. Cyborg goes down, face down, ass up. She's out. Amanda Nunez, new 2 division champion. The reign of Cyborg was over. She fought a bantamweight, got knocked out by a bantamweight. This is one of the most glorious moments in the history of the women's divisions. It's just not that awesome of a knockout. It would have been higher if it was. I mean, but it was glorious to watch, though. I will tell you right now. It's one of my favorite knockouts ever. And that's why it's number 4. Glorious knockout. Which moves us on to number 3. Another absolutely glorious knockout. Holm versus Ronda Rousey at UFC 193. November 14th, I think this was 2016. I forgot to write it down. Holm comes in. She's a big underdog. Ronda's undefeated. She's beaten everybody in the first round, except for Miesha Tate, I think, went into the second round in the rematch. Ronda's taking arms, collecting names, beating everybody. Holly comes in, big underdog. Bit of an underperformer in the UFC so far. They come out, Ronda just starts rushing forward, and Holly just successfully counters her hard. Holly just starts stunning her with counters throughout the first round. At one point, Holly even picks up Ronda and dumps her to the ground. And it just continues from there. More and more punches. I mean, Ronda is stunned almost from the beginning. Goes to the second round. It gets even worse. At one point, Ronda, she's so out of it, she throws a punch, a hook. Holly just completely ducks under and out, and Ronda goes down to her knee. She has no idea what she's doing out there. Holly hurts her with a couple punches. Ronda drops to her knee. Holly follows her as she gets back up, throws a huge left high kick that sends Ronda to the ground. Holly follows down with some hammer fists, but the job was already done. Ronda was out 59 seconds of the second round. Holly Holm, the new UFC bantamweight champion of the world. One of the biggest upsets in the sport's history. Huge upset. Huge knockout. Amazing moment in the history of the sport. I mean, there's so much more I could say, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Which moves us on to number 2, a repeater on this list. Hisai Watanabe versus Satoko Shinashi, the rematch. These two had met a couple years earlier. They met again with Shinashi coming out the victor in, I believe, the second round via submission. They met again at Deep 25 Impact on 4th August 2006. This time, Shinashi did not get a chance to submit Watanabe. Watanabe just controlled her on the feet and just did not let her get really close. Stayed on the outside, kept her distance, landed her punches, throws a big right hook. Shinashi out instantly, falls to the ground, almost falls under the ropes. She starts falling under the bottom rope. I mean, she was just out. I mean, boom, it was, it was not pretty. I mean, this was a brutal one-punch knockout. At 105 pounds, this is for the inaugural deep 105-pound title. We're talking an atomweight with one-punch knockout power. Just sends one of the queens of that division at the time into the realm of unconsciousness with one punch, a right hook, huge punch, huge finish, huge knockout. Glorious moment in the sport. Just amazing. A new champion was crowned as well. Just nasty, nasty, nasty knockout. Now I'm having a hard time finding a video of this full fight, but all you got to do is go to Google image search Hisai Watanabe versus Satoko Shinashi. There are plenty of GIFs in the image search, and they'll show you the knockout. You're gonna like this one. Trust me on that one. Which brings us along to number one, the Big Daddy. What is number one? Probably one of the most unique knockouts in the women's divisions. Jessica Andrade versus Rose Namajunas. UFC 237, May 11th, 2019. These two come out, and Rose Namajunas is controlling Jessica Andrade on the feet, just backing her up with stiff jabs. Jessica Andrade, though, she's a tank. She's lumbering forward through them. She's eating those jabs. Even gets knocked down in the first round. Gets back up. Keeps going. She's throwing low kicks. She's aiming for the body. She's trying to pick Namajunas up and slam her down. I think got like 2, but not really completed in the first round. They go to the second round. Andrade is looking busted up. Rose is looking good. They come out in the second round. Rose is a little bit slowed down. She's not quite as bouncy. She's not on the balls of her feet as much, but she's still jabbing the heck out of Andrade. But Andrade is starting to find more success. She's starting to get on the inside more. She's landing more low kicks. She's getting on the inside more. She's landing some body punches. Rose is visibly starting to slow a little bit. Andrade goes for the slam again. Namajunas using the Kimura as a defense. She holds on to it. Andrade learns from the earlier slam attempts and adjusts and reaches. She adjusts her arms, picks Namajunas up, slams her down to the ground. Boom! Namajunas is out. I mean, she is out. 2 minutes, 58 seconds of round number 2. Jessica Andrade is the new UFC strawweight champion of the world. It is one of the nastiest knockouts in the history of the women's divisions. It is the nastiest knockout in the history of the women's division, just because it's so unique by the slam. Yes, there have been other slam knockouts, but none quite like this. The way Andrade just picked her up and boom, slammed her, dumped her, right on her head. Nasty. It was so bad that a lot of people, of course, all the Rose Namajunas fans were up in arms like, oh, that's illegal, that should be illegal, that should be illegal. And it wasn't illegal. It was a glorious knockout, though. So, I mean, it was just that final, really. I mean, Rose still hasn't made a return. They were scheduled to return, I believe, for UFC 249. Of course, it got pushed back because of COVID and whatnot. This fight will probably still happen. The rematch will probably still happen somewhere down the line. But, I mean, it's been almost a year and the rematch hasn't happened yet, and Rose hasn't returned. Of course, Andrade also lost her title as well. But doesn't change the fact this was such a glorious knockout. So brutal, so final. Just so it had everything you would want in a number one knockout. And that's why it's number one on my top 5 WMMA knockouts. Alright, so that's my list, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did I leave anything out? What do you think? Let me know if you think I left anything out. please let me know, like I said, in the comments down below. Of course, hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.